Greetings, you beautiful people, and welcome to the Coop channel. Today I want to talk about fun in Genshin Impact, because it's something that's been weighing on my mind lately. Among all the criticisms that Genshin Impact gets, one of my personal main gripes with the game and its developer miHoYo is their inability to attract and cater to new players. So I've made this video today to talk about some of the different tricks you can do to make Genshin Impact more entertaining in your daily play. So whether you're completely new to the gacha game, or gacha world in general, or a hardcore veteran, there should be something here for everyone. It doesn't matter how much you play Genshin Impact, be it 15 minutes a day or a few hours. It's important to make the time you spend with the game as entertaining as possible. So I compile a short list of things that I do to keep the game fun and engaging during the time that I play. The first point would be play your favorite character. This seems like one of those obvious things that doesn't need to be said, but it's also the most essential, even if most players probably do this already. However, your favorite might be a character like Chi-Chi, Kokomi, or Amber, or someone else that isn't strictly considered good among the player base. And while this first point sounds obvious to a new player, the Genshin community has a tendency to lose its head over some of the non-meta characters. This is mostly relevant for new or free-to-play players, since when you get a higher adventure rank or you spend enough money, you will most likely have a few characters to choose from that suit you. And the starting 4, Traveler, Amber, Kaya and Lisa, might not cut it if you're aiming for the harder content. But generally, it's known that any character can work in the right setup and with the right amount of investment. So don't let anyone tell you that you can't be an Amber main. The important part of any game is to have fun and play the way you want to. But this of course also goes the other way around. If you feel like the gameplay is getting stale, then maybe you should try to switch things up. Maybe find a new main to level and spend your in-game time to create new teams that cater to your likes and preferences. The second point I find increasingly interesting in Genshin Impact is to try off meta builds. As the game grows, so do the potential possibilities for you to create weird and wacky setups. So there are a few things you can do to spice up the gameplay of your favorite characters. And even if Genshin is still a fairly new game, in gacha terms at least, with its 1-year anniversary having just been celebrated, there's still plenty of options for you to try out. This point also ties back to the first one. If there's a way you enjoy playing, then you should strive for that. Most non-catalyst users in Genshin Impact can be built with a physical damage set. Yes, the damage output is in most cases not as strong, but you might enjoy that playstyle more. Or maybe you like a specific elemental reaction, and you can build your entire team around doing super conduit or overload reactions, even if melt and vaporize are known to do much more damage. So my second tip is to build your characters and your team in a way that you feel good about. Oftentimes, mastering the quirky builds and characters makes for more interesting gameplay, because the general Genshin overworld becomes much easier down the line at higher adventure ranks. My third trick, if you will, would be to slow down. This point is mainly for newer players, but if you're someone who's returning to the game or maybe started a bit later, then this is for you as well. Genshin is constantly expanding. It's getting new continents added, new quests and bosses, but generally speaking, there's no point in reaching endgame as fast as possible. The game is a single player experience, even if there is co-op, and the story doesn't disappear once a new chapter comes out. It will always be there. This can of course come down to what kind of player you are. If you're the competitive type who wants to do the harder content quickly, well, maybe this tip isn't for you. But the most enjoyable thing for me is to run around the world, explore, and see the different things that Genshin has to offer outside of its story. It does sound very simple, but taking your time and doing the things you want in the game is often the most satisfying way to play. Feeling forced or in a hurry to reach some of the endgame goals is likely going to lead to burnout or disinterest in the long run. Any day one Genshin player will tell you that reaching AR 50 quickly is not gonna make the game more enjoyable, but will just lead to you running out of content. And this is not just relevant for Genshin. Any RPG that prides itself in great big storylines and tons of side content should, in my opinion, be enjoyed at the player's own personal pace. Point number 4. Challenge and solo content. Now, it's generally accepted that Genshin Impact does have a serious lack of proper in-game content, so once you've killed all there is to kill and cleared all there is to clear, you might find yourself missing things to do. And the daily chores become repetitive and uninteresting. Well, perhaps you need to try doing some solo content. The gameplay in Genshin Impact is of course centered around having a team, so testing your ability or one of your characters against some of the harder content might spice up the weekly grind, even if it's just a little. My suggestion is to try these things without using food to heal. Make the content as hard as you like it. For me, the idea of being able to fail a boss or a domain makes for more intense and skill-based gameplay. Maybe you've reached a point where you can't quite clear the abyss with 36 stars, but still find the rest of the game monotonous. So soloing content and challenging your setups can be a way to gain some of that interest back. The 5th point of this video is to play co-op. It's one of the easiest things to do, but I see many players lose interest in games like these simply because they have no one to play with. Playing with others around your level is more often than not a fun experience. There are the occasional outliers as with any game, but the co-op experience in Genshin can be very rewarding. If you're having trouble with certain content or simply want to feel more of the social aspect that is also a part of Genshin, you might have no problem doing the aforementioned challenging content. So maybe the next step for you is to bring more people into your world and reach out. Whether it be actual combat, playing hide and seek in your respective Serenity pod, or simply casual fishing with a new friend, these are all things you can do in Genshin Impact, and it might help to make the game feel less repetitive. Number 6 on the list would be to join or interact with smaller communities. This last and final point comes from a general idea that many of us video game players have, which is, I don't have any friends that share my interest in so-and-so game. To that I say, many of the smaller sub-communities in Genshin, for example, are filled with nice and helpful people. Now, the reason I recommend smaller ones is that the big Discord servers are often so saturated with people that actually finding someone to play with can seem daunting sometimes. Not to mention that finding one person you click with in a sea of people is sometimes more work than you're willing to put in. If there is a streamer you like or a YouTube content creator that has a Discord, consider joining and make new friends. As with any game, chatting with like-minded people about the game can make everything more engaging and fun. Discussing character build, strategies, and getting help when you're stuck are all invaluable resources to draw from in my experience. With that said, you're more than welcome to join my Discord in the description. Come say hello to me and other people who are looking to have fun in Genshin and other gacha games. These tips have been simple and achievable for the majority of players, and are some of the things I have done in my time with Genshin. And to this day, I still find the game fun, despite many other players talking about burnout or content drought. Even if I will admit that Genshin suffers from some problems, it can still be a fun experience for any new players willing to try it out. So, if you enjoyed this little list, leave a like and subscribe, especially if you're interested in more beginner-friendly gacha content. You can also come hang out with me over on Twitch in the weekends, where I stream FGO and Genshin among other things to come. Thank you so much for watching.